my name is Melissa Drew, and welcome to the third episode of These Little Hands podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Melissa Drew, and you can find me on Ravelry as These Little Hands, and there's also a Ravelry group, These Little Hands podcast, that you can join where I post the show notes. Thank you for watching, and if you've watched before, thank you for coming back, and if it's your first time watching, I really appreciate it. Today is Sunday, the 22nd of May, 2016, and I want to introduce you to somebody you've seen pictures of before if you watched before, but here she is. She's sleeping and doesn't want to say hi to the camera, but let's see if she wants to. Very shy, my little Stella. She is a wonderful dog. She's a whippet and she's 3 years old. And yeah. Okay, so I always try to wear something that I made myself. So the one I'm wearing is an old one, but one that I wear a lot. I knitted it out of rowan yarn, but at the time I made this, I didn't keep record of what I used and so forth, so I don't have the record of what yarn I used. The pattern is from this book. There is the picture. So on the cuffs they also did a large cable band like this. I decided not to do that because I didn't want it to be so heavy around the arms. It's quite long. I will stand up to show you. So yeah, it's very loose and very comfortable, and I wear it a lot in the winter. It's very comfortable. I'm an occupational therapist and I work with children, so I spend a lot of time on the ground while I'm working, so it works perfectly for those purposes. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some knitting projects. I'm going to be talking about 2 sewing projects, and then at the end I'll show you some of my favorite things. So let's get into the knitting. The first knitting I want to show you is the knitting I'm doing for the Jane Austen Along, hosted by the Knitting Broomstick podcast. It's for the month of May. It is the first knit along that I'm participating in, and I was hoping to finish this weekend. I might still finish it tonight because I'm almost done, so I can show you the progress on that. I am knitting a pattern from this book. It is number 41. The pattern is called Tulip by Mari Wallen. The reason why I'm using this pattern is I was inspired by the shape of this cardigan in the Pride and Prejudice movie, where Keira Knightley plays Elizabeth. But I was inspired by Jane Bennett's wardrobe. So that is the pattern. And I'm knitting it out of Rowan Revive yarn in the pearl colorway. And this is where I am. So I finished the entire cardigan. So it is a wraparound. It's quite cold, I know. Most people that watch this podcast, it is summer, going into summer where you are. But for us in the southern hemisphere, it is turning into winter. So I'm not going to be wearing this soon. Probably only August, September, when it's spring. It has a very nice twisted edging on the sleeves and at the bottom and around the neck edge. So I still need to block it. What was really nice is that you don't knit the sleeves, you just shape it as part of the front and the back. So the only thing I still have to do is to knit the ties and then I'm going to block it. So there's a little hole on this side for the tie to go through. Yeah, so it fits me perfectly. I've tried it on. I'm very happy with it, and I will definitely be done before the end of May in time for the knit along. So I'm very happy about that. So that is my first project. It's almost finished. I was hoping that it would be finished, but it is not. So yes, if you want to see the label of the yarn, let me just get it out. I still have an entire ball left. So let me just see. Oh, the light, it's blowing it out there. There we go. Rowan Pure Life Revive. It is 36% recycled silk, 36% recycled cotton, and 28% recycled viscose. So this was part of the inspiration for the knit along. You can hear more about it in the previous episode where I speak about it. Okay, so the next project is a test knit for Sally Jane from the Pink Hair Girl Knits, also South African podcast. It is a shawl pattern called A New Day. So this is the first time I've test knitted for someone. I have another one coming up that I will share next time. I'm almost done. So let me just sort myself out here. So look at that. It's really quite pretty. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I had a sock yarn kit from Nurturing Fibers, which is a South African dyer. They have a kit with 10 colors in. This is the kit. So it's 100% merino, and it is, the colors are straw, cedar, sea glass, Monet, smoky night, driftwood, leather, vintage rose, Odette, and quince. So I used that is all the colors. They get thinner and thinner because the shawl is quite wide. At the moment I think I'm on 435 stitches around there, so it's quite wide. I'm busy with the last garter ridge, and then there's just one section, and then there's a picot bind off, which I've never done before, but I'm sure we're able to figure it out. So that is the colored yarn, except for this light color here. So the sock yarn kit was only 330 meters, which is not enough. So what this light color over here is a Rowan Pure Wool 4-ply. It's cream, and it is 160 meters on 50 grams. So it's almost exactly the same weight as the other yarn. It's almost exactly the same. So that's going to work out well if I have to work out how much yarn I used in terms of grams at the end. So that is what I used there. And the grey is yarn I had in my stash from Eden Cottage Yarns in the steel colorway. It's a little bit of a lighter fingering weight than the other one I used. It's 85% blue face leicester and 15% silk. So that is the one I'm using for the grey, for my contrasting color. And then I'm knitting these on my new favorite needles. It's Chiaga needles, and it is a 3.5 millimeter US size 4. So I love these needles. It's been quite a quick knit, I think. The rows are long, but it's okay. I'm almost done. So I really liked how this turned out. It's quite big. It's going to block out nicely, I think. So I will hopefully be done before the end of the coming week, so that I can have that ready. So I'm really enjoying this knit. Okay, so that is what I'm doing there. I forgot to mention I joined Accountability Buddies from Francophile, from Devon from Francophile Knits. So my test knit is a cheat on the Accountability Buddies because I wasn't supposed to start a new project. I was supposed to finish all my other projects, but the rest of the things I've been working on, I've been pretty good because those were already existing projects. So the next one I want to show you that I've made quite some progress on is my Haven sweater. I really want to wear it this winter, so I have to hurry up and get it done. It's one of my most favorite patterns I've ever seen, so I can't wait to get it done. I just wanted to show you the picture. Here we go. I spoke about this in depth in my, I think it was the first or second episode, but you can find more information about that. I finished the back. It is gigantic, but that is the way it's supposed to be. So the back is done. It's basically moss stitch with a, oh, it's the wrong way, with a very nice edging. No shaping to it, it's just straight. But what is nice about the size of this, so this is quite a slow knit because it's very long rows and it's just moss stitch all the way. So I decided, so that I can feel like I've made some progress, to knit the sleeves before I attempt the front. But what's very nice about the shape is look how small the sleeves are. So I finished both sleeves. So I started on the front, but with started I mean I've knit 2 rows basically. I'm using the suggested needle size, which I think is a US size 8, which is that a 4mm or 4.5, I'm not sure, but you use a smaller size for the ribbing and then you go 1.5 size up for the body. I still prefer straight needles, although I've started to knit on circular needles. Especially when knitting sweaters, the way I hold my needle, I also support it sort of like this under my arm. And when the fabric is quite heavy, it helps you to have more control. And the first podcast I watched ever, and I didn't keep track of the name and I haven't seen it again. There was actually a lady on there that spoke about a workshop she attended where they showed how fast you can knit when using long needles, straight needles. And I actually think that's true. So I do find that I knit a lot faster with these, and it's a lot less intense on my hands. I've never before had issues with my hands getting tired, but knitting on the circular needles, I do sometimes feel it, especially on my left hand. Here across the thumb, it gets tired a bit. So I don't feel it when I knit on the straight needles. Okay, so that one is, it's not almost done because the front is quite long, but at least I only have the front left to do. So that is that one. On my other project, I haven't made any progress because I've been focusing on these, so I'm not going to show you those today. What I want to show you, I'm just looking at my show notes. I want to show you some of my acquisitions with other things. So I got these. I'm turning into a needle snob. I used to just knit with whatever I had, but now I've been spoiled by watching all the podcasts. So I have these beautiful chaga needles, straight needles. They are a little bit shorter than what I'm used to, but I'm going to change my windy scarf and put them on these needles, and I think they are really going to motivate me to knit on that. They are beautiful. So yeah, I haven't taken them out of the package yet. So all of the acquisitions that I'm talking about, I got from an online South African store, Natural natural yarns. What am I thinking? Let me show you the card. Naturalyarns.co.za, and they deliver to your house, which is quite nice. And they're very helpful. Gina Ross, she's really very helpful, and they have quite a variety. It's the only place that I know of where I can buy chargo needles. They don't stock it at my local yarn store, and there's quite a few yarns that they also stock that my local yarn store does not stock. So yes, I got this from her. So I just wanted to show you that. And then other things I want to show you is my plans for my next projects. It's acquisitions and plans. So I want to show you my beautiful nurturing fiber yarns. It's the worsted weight. So I got, let me show you the skeins first. So this is what it looks like skeined up. This is the soft spun worsted, 100% merino, 170 meters on 100 grams, the marmalade colorway. And then I have this one. Okay, it's showing up blue on the camera, but it's more like a sea green. Sea glass is the color. And then I also have this one, Smoky Nights. That's the right color that's showing up there. And then I also have this one. The colorway is Odette. So what I'm planning to make with these, and I'm planning to use them all together for one thing, is I'm going to make a sweater. I love knitting sweaters. This is what the marmalade color looks caked up. So you can see there is a little bit of a different color, the same as the pink I showed you in there. So what I'm planning to make with this, because I wanted to find a pattern that I can use, and I wanted to use all of them together, is I'm planning to knit this. So I'm going to use the pink and the salmon color for the striping, and then I'll use the either green or blue for the neck and the bottom, and then I'll use the other color for the cuffs. So it's a bit daring, but I think it's going to look lovely. I like color, so I love wearing color, and I'm excited to start on that. This is also from the Rowan Loves Creative Focus. I think all the designs are by Martin Story. He's one of my favorite designers. So I'm going to knit that with that yarn. And then I have two shawls in the waiting in line. So the first one is a paid for pattern. I don't have a very good picture because I printed it in black and white, but it is Odali, or I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm really looking for, I love knitting the shawls, but I don't really wear shawls, and I'm looking for one that I would wear. So I'm thinking that this might be it. So let me show you this picture. So it has quite a nice band there on the side. The colors I'm going to use for this is the Rowan Fine Art yarn. I have this color, which is a wine color with a little bit of pink in there and a little bit of brown. So this is a color I often wear in my wardrobe. I have a lot of clothes that will match this, and I'm going to use this one, which is also the Rowan Fine Art, for the border. I'm very excited to start this. But what was very interesting is now that I'm a lot more active on Ravelry and putting my projects in there, I also look at the labels on the yarn a lot more carefully. So this yarn is hand-painted sock yarn made with merino wool, kid mohair and mulberry silk. But when I looked at the label, it is, if you can see there, made in South Africa. So this yarn is actually made here, imported out, imported back, and then I bought it. So I paid way too much for local yarn, but I love the colors. The variegation is not very strong, so it gives a very nice effect. So this is what I'm going to be doing after I finished the test knit shawl. And then the other one I have lined up is I have local yarn, African Expressions, Soul. This is their 4-ply yarn. It's 50% kid mohair, 15% mulberry silk, 50% wool, and 20% polyamide. I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's basically the same as the Rowan Fine Art. It's almost exactly the same. It feels the same as well. And this is a locally produced yarn, African Expressions. So I have this one, which is a variegated yarn with a lot of navy in. Navy is also a color I often wear. And then I have these two, which is exactly the same, it's just their solid colors. So I have these two. This is the same color as that light color in there. So what I'm planning to knit with this is also a shawl. It's a paid for pattern, Stella Luna by I'm not sure if the designer is Stella Luna and if the pattern is Stella Luna. Again, I don't have a very good picture for you. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but yeah. So I'm very excited to be knitting that. This has a lot of lace work, which I haven't done a lot because I knit mostly sweaters, but I'm very excited to start that. Yes, so let me see, what else did I want to talk to you about knitting? Oh, I wanted to ask a question. I have two very beautiful skeins of yarn, but I have no idea what pattern to knit. I'm struggling to find patterns for very variegated yarns that show the yarn off well, and I want to use all the yarn if possible, or as much of it as possible. So this is also a local dyer. I've spoken about her in my first episode, Hartlam, and I have two skeins of this beautiful colorway. So it's light purple, pink, and yellow. It's 55% superwash blue face Leicester and 45% silk. It's on her Clarence sock base, and the name is The Last Few Rays. So I have two of these, and I really want to knit a large shawl or wrap or something like that, but I would like to use both. I would like to use all of it. So if anybody can recommend a pattern for me, I would really appreciate that. Yes, so I have those two. Okay, so then I wanted to also show you, I'm going to insert a video here about it. I really wanted to buy a Swift because I have a lot of yarn in skeins and not in balls, and as you know, it's quite tricky to get those rolled up if you don't have somebody to help you, and even if you have somebody that helps you, it takes quite some time. So I was very confidently went to the store to buy one for myself, and then it cost 1,590 rand, which I don't know what that would be in dollars, probably divided by about 16, but still it's a lot for me to spend on a Swift. It just holds my yarn. So I had to leave it because it's definitely not in my budget. And then I asked my father if he thinks he can come up with a swift for me. So he's made me one that works perfectly, and I'm going to insert a video here to show you. After that, we're going to go into the sewing segment. So that is it from me today for the knitting. Okay, so this is my swift that my father made for me. This is a old light that was broken, so this is the base of that light. It's quite heavy, which is nice because then the swift doesn't have to be screwed onto the table. And then I have two planks that interlink like that. And I can just loosely screw the bolt on so that it is quite loose. And then these dowel sticks, we measured a few skeins of yarn to see what size they are, a few different types of yarn, and okay, so I want to show you a few sewing things. Before that, I apologize for the video that was cut off a little bit short on the Swift, but I think you get the idea of how it works. So I'm very excited. It works perfectly, and the base is really heavy, so it doesn't move around. And I've wound up 2 skeins already without any difficulty. So for the sewing, I have a few things to show you. The one I need motivation to finish. It has caused me a lot of difficulty, but I'm almost there. I just haven't found the perfect thing yet. So if you have any ideas for me, please fill in. Okay, so I spoke about this in my very first episode, and then I've only just inserted the pockets. So this is the first pattern ever I've made without a pattern. So I drew up the pattern according to my body measurements. It is based on, if you look at my first episode, you will see it is based on a pattern by Alexander McQueen. I think it's, no, I'm not going to be able to tell you now, but it is definitely in my first episode. So the last time I showed this to you, it didn't have a collar, it didn't have sleeves. So I'm going to stand up because otherwise it's going to be a little difficult to show you. So it's navy and cream, this sort of houndstooth pattern. So it's going to be a double-breasted jacket. So you have the collar here at the top. Sorry, it's a little bit fiddly to show you. The collar, I've inserted it. It has these pockets. It now has sleeves. What I'm very happy about is if you look, I wanted the pattern message, so you can see that the line here goes across onto the sleeve, and the same at the back. So the lines go, it's difficult to show you now, but the lines go across the back and then onto the sleeve, which is great. So on my first episode, you will see that I inserted a picture. That coat, the Alexander McQueen coat, has on the bottom here, it has blue embroidery, and I really want to put something on here, but I just haven't found the right thing. And I know I can just leave it plain and it would still be beautiful, but I feel like I can buy a plain coat where I cannot afford to buy a couture coat. So I would really like to make something that's different, but I haven't found the right thing yet. So a little bit of detail is that a few tips I can give you. So what they taught me is to interface the entire front of the coat, which really gives a very nice finish to it. So this is iron-on interfacing. And then at the bottom, you interface 6 centimeters, see, and then you fold it over 4. That it gives you a really clean line at the bottom of your coat, and you do the same thing with the sleeves. It gives you that clean line. So I have to insert the lining, but before I do that I need to decide what I want to do with the bottom. But this coat has taken me a long time and I'm losing steam on it, and I really want to finish it because I am using what I would use to, so instead of buying clothing, I'm using my budget for clothing to buy fabric and to make clothes because I like it so much, to sew and knit. So this is what I have in terms of a coat for the winter that I'm making. So I need to finish it, but I just really want it to be perfect, and I haven't figured out a plan yet. So if anybody has a plan for me, please let me know. But I'm also entering this into the Yarngasm Make Along, I think it's called. A lot of people are making summer things because it's summer in the northern hemisphere, but it's winter here. So I'm making 2 things and they're both winter. But it's going to be so beautiful, and it fits me perfectly because it was made to my measurements. So the fit on this is really great. So that is how far I am on that. And then last week in sewing class, because I haven't decided what I want to do with my coat yet, I made a blouse. You might recognize this fabric from one of my project bags. The project bag is yellow and it's a linen fabric. This is beautiful fabric. It's very bright. So yes, but anyway, I like color. I don't know. I think I'll still wear it even though it's so bright. So this is just a shirt. It's a longish shirt. It has a flap over at the top. I used a pattern for this, and now I've put my pattern way over there and I can't show you. So it's a Vogue pattern. So I've done French seams on the on the inside. The entire inside has French seams, so it's very neat. And I've also pattern matched. So you can see it's not ironed, but it has a little flap shirt at the top. It's difficult to show you now because I don't have it on, and the camera is opposite, but you sort of get the idea that it matches. And what I did in the class as well is to insert this piece on the sleeve. And can you see that the colors don't match, but I've also pattern matched the butterflies on that insert there. So that's great. So yeah, they are pattern matched there. That's great. So I just have to do the cuffs and the rolled hem at the bottom, and then the buttonholes, and then I'll be done. So I think it's going to be very, very lovely with a jean and pumps. The fabric is so soft. It was quite expensive fabric, so I don't actually know what it is, but it feels like it has a silk content. So I think it is a cotton and silk blend because it is so soft. Yes, so oh, and on the button stand you can also see that the butterflies are pattern matched. So I did a lot of pattern matching on this, but this is almost done. So I'm very excited about this. This will probably be finished next week because I have a class on Tuesday evening, and I will probably be able to finish everything I have to finish in that class. So the other things I have to show you is I just want to show you a few fabrics I have that I'm going to sew bags out of. For me it would be project bags, but I make them as gifts as well. I've made a few for my friends and they all really love it, and I think it's special. Even if you have something else and then you put it in the bag, and give it as a gift. I think it's really nice, and it's a nice way to use up fabric that I have, or it's a nice way to use nice printed fabric. So I didn't show this last time because I made one for my mother for Mother's Day, and I didn't want her to see. So I love dogs, but I also love cats, and I found this wonderful fabric. Look how pretty it is. So it's quite thick, it's almost like a denim, so it's very nice for project bags. So I have that one, and then I lined it. I brought quite a lot of this fabric because it's so nice to use as lining, especially for sewing bags. It has a sewing machine on it, and scissors, and thread, and a spinning wheel, and yarn, and yeah, it's so pretty and lovely to line it with. So I made a project bag for my mother with these two. So this was the cats were the outside, and then the sewing fabric was the inside. So I'm going to make a few more bags out of that. And then I also have this one. I showed you the project bag I made, but I wanted you to show you what the fabric looks like. So it comes printed like this in the blocks. So the only thing is that it is then really quite difficult to determine the size because you're quite limited to where the print is. And as you can see, there's no border in between, so you have to be really careful not to, because I mean I can't even do on this one here, there is like, that is not even a centimeter there, so the seams are quite thin on that, but it's beautiful fabric. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I don't think my sister watches this podcast, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about what is happening with this. Okay, so that is that one I wanted to show you. You've seen, if you want to see the finished bag, then look at episode number 2. I show the finished bag on there that I made for myself. And then I have a few others that I wanted to show you. So I'm going to make some bags out of this fabric. Very whimsical. I really like it. And I really like blue. I know it looks like I like pink. I do like pink, but I also really like blue. So I have that one. And then, you know, I'm sure you've seen by now that I am quite a fan of butterflies. So I have this one. And then for a bit of whimsy, I have these little foxes. And then I really like this one. It's little thimbles. The detail on this you can't see, but it's quite detailed. So I will be making a few different shapes and sizes, but I will be making a few bags as gifts to keep. I feel like if I can make it when I have time, then I don't have to go out and buy a gift. You know, I can just take something from my cupboard and add something to it, like hand cream or whatever, and it makes a really nice gift. And it's so easy to sew it up. I'm going to try a different interfacing. So I bought iron-on batting that you actually use for quilting. So I'm going to try that and see how it goes, because I haven't found the interfacing that works for me. So I'm going to try the batting on all of these. So that would be probably be done within the next 2 weeks. And that is it for my sewing. So hopefully next time, and please send your ideas to me, I would have my coat finished and I can wear it on the podcast. That would be really great. Okay, so that is it for me from sewing, and I'm going to show you just not a lot, a few pretty things, and then I would be saying goodbye. Movie of all time is Beauty and the Beast. I have a lot of other favorite movies, but that was the first movie I ever watched. I was 3 years old when it was released. It was the first movie. My uncle took us, my cousin and myself, to see it. We still to this day know all the lyrics off by hand. And she recently gave me a gift that is, she's the only person in the world that will understand why I love this so much. So it's a set of two. The brand is Tassen, Tassen. It is a cup and a saucer. So look how beautiful they are. So this is a face, a little. So it reminds me of the cups in the movie. So it's this one. So you can't see very well. I'm recording in the evening. I normally record in daylight, but I just didn't have time. I wanted to record last weekend and I didn't have time, and then I wanted to record this weekend, and the weekend sort of ran away with me. And if I don't record this weekend, then I'm going to have to wait about another 2 weeks. So I really wanted to get an episode out. The other one is, sorry, I'm just taking them. I'm at the moment keeping them in their boxes just because the cupboard I'm using is quite full and I don't want them to fall, so I always put them back in their box. So the other one has a smiley face. Oh, it's so cute. Look at that. Yeah, so that's my favorite things that I wanted to share with you. I drink coffee out of my teacups, but I love them. These Tassen teacups I use almost every day. They're quite big, so that's quite nice. I will be seeing you in about 2 weeks' time. I'm trying to record every 2 weeks, but it's not possible for me to always determine that, so I get an episode out when I can. But I really enjoy the community, and thank you so much for watching and for being here with me, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. I will see you next time. Bye.